Gonna go in 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, welcome back to KDA. I am your host, Kingmaker, and today I have two special guests with me. Will's no longer with the show. Unfortunately, we went our separate ways, but I appreciate everything he's done. Today I have 16-Bit Writer, who is the head coach of 16-Bit Genesis, and I have EU Import LFT, who plays mid lane, jungle, mid lane, not sure, for 16-Bit. How are you guys today?
I'm doing good, man.
Good, man.
I'm doing good, too.
Thank you guys for joining me, and thank everybody for tuning in. As you know, this show has always been your show. I just host it for you. This section that we really come to first is, oh, you guys don't have... I'm not sharing my screen. Whoops. Hold on. Screen share. There we go. Go live. Sorry about that. Where were we at? Personal development. How has y'all's grind been going? Like, with this new system or the new ranked changes, how has your grind been? Is it positive, negative? What do you guys think?
I think on main accounts, because Carbo and I are both in Grandmaster, and Carbo, you let me know if you feel the same way. I really like the changes are directed more towards like mid-tier elo, like high Emerald and Diamond, and like maybe Master. It's like in like GM games, I don't think they really affect us too much.
Mm-hmm.
Like on my Master, my GM accounts, I'm still getting 4 diamonds every game for like most of the time, unless we're like trio or 5-man. So I don't think it's made like a ton of change for like the high levels. I like that challengers have to deal with other challengers, because I think a lot of challengers are getting like boosted by like duoing or trioing or 5-mans with like a bunch of like 100 LP Grandmaster players, so it's just like free wins for them.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to. I was gonna pass it over to you, Carpa. Or
Okay. So I think I agree with what the writer said. Changes are mostly like targeted at Diamond and below. I think right now there's not really any not really any changes at higher ranks. But I think like eventually there will be a change, since all those people who were stuck in Diamond or below before, they would be able to reach Masters and Grandmasters due to the additional like boost to their LP. Like, and I think at that point it would affect matchmaking in higher elo, because a bunch of Grandmasters would actually be a bit more inflated than before, and that might change how it feels, but we'll see. Might feel better too, you never know. Also, from what I've heard, 5Q challengers now only match with other 5Q challengers, so they can't even match with GMs.
Oh, really?
Which is great. Yeah. I'm not like 100% sure on that, but that's what I heard from people in Europe. So that's a great change, I think. So the 5Q abusing will become way harder. And as far as I know, also 5Q at MT and GMs, like they match with MT and GMs more often now. So you'd still occasionally match with diamonds, but like way more rarely. So that's nice. I think that's like those two changes are definitely good and something that we needed.
gotcha.
Like-
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Something that I'll shut up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll do real quick. I think that most high-elo players can agree that they would rather have a bit longer wait time for queues to get closer games. For the most part, for those actually looking to improve and get better, like if I'm in a 5-man or like trio, I would rather go against like other GM 5-mans rather than just stomping like a bunch of emeralds or diamonds in 5-mans. It's like just kind of, unless like all you care about is LP, it just kind of feels like a waste of time.
Yeah.
So I like those changes.
Something that I had noticed or I read on Reddit was the fact that now people are getting 15, losing 10, so it means you can climb with like a 40 to 45% win rate. How do you guys feel about that, being able to climb with a negative win rate?
So I feel like they're overcompensated a bit. Like,
Yeah.
I think honestly what they should do is just plus minus 10, so whoever is above 50 can climb, whoever is below 50 can't climb, and that's like, I think it's great and balanced. But But I think due to the fact that a lot of people were stuck in diamond, getting minus 15 plus 10, like so they would have like 40, 54, 55 win rate and still be stuck. I think due to that fact they did this, and as far as I understand it, that change will be like revoked later. So it's like a temporary boost. So those people who were stuck due to actually like getting minus 15 will be able to climb fast and then like get to MT, and in a couple of weeks before the next patch, they'll actually get it back to minus 10 plus 10. As far as I understand, I'm not sure if I'm right on that.
And then hopefully those people, like you said, that are like 45% win rate will climb for a minute, but then because of their win rate, once the plus 10 minus 10 comes back, they'll drop back down.
Gotcha.
I hope.
Yeah, you don't want to oversaturate the market.
Yeah, because I was playing on a Smurf account with just some friends the other day, and one of them is like he had like a 44% win rate in Emerald 4, and we played like 2 games together, and he skipped straight from Emerald 4 to Diamond 4.
I had someone do that too. It's one of the guys that I was coaching.
It's like that's so unnecessary. But
yeah, I mean, I think they're. Yeah, I think they're trying to inflate the ranks a bit too much.
Yeah.
And I think by doing so, like the major complaint of higher elo, like actually high elo, like Jam Plus players, is that like, oh, I'm tired of getting emeralds and diamonds in my queue. I want to like have high quality queues where I play like full Jam lobbies, full MT, full Chow lobbies. And I think also by doing this, so they're trying to like kind of fix that. So they're just inflating a bunch of people to MT and GMs, and then those people will be matched. So instead of having like 4 diamonds, you have 3 GMs that were like card stack diamonds before this change.
They're basically just reworking the plays above their rank badge. So instead of getting an Emerald player who plays against their rank, in quotations, they're just going to get boosted up to Master and then not have that badge anymore.
Gotcha. So it's just like a false inflation where they really shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what's going
on. Moving on from that, Will and I would usually talk about the pro scene because what was happening at that time was Team Queso was taking over Europe. You guys are in the pro scene. What is that like?
It's stressful. I'll say that.
Carpo.
Yeah, like I think this is very stressful and hard, especially like if you're not a major team, like one of like top 3 in your region or something. Like your rosters are always very vulnerable because people be like leaving the game overall or leaving the team or like underperforming whatever else. And I think that's like creates a lot of stress for everyone because you like constantly you have to balance like everything and try to keep your team afloat, which is very hard. But I think it is very fun and rewarding.
Yeah, I think because there's still so little money in the Wild Rift pro scene compared to like other games, especially like the PC League. It's hard to like keep a lot of the same or a lot of the same players in the pro scene because it's just not worth it unless you're like Carpo said, unless you're in one of those like top 3, top 4 teams.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're not winning much from the tournament.
Yeah, you're not making enough money to sustain yourself just from being a pro, and the amount of time that you have to invest into it as well to be good enough to be a pro. Like the pluses don't outweigh the minuses a lot of the time.
That's where as a team, I guess as an organization, you really got to rely on the sponsors. And Cloud9 has, for example, just using Cloud9 for an example, they have Red Bull, BMW, all these big sponsors that they're able to pull these resources from over a multitude of games. Same thing with like TSM, whereas 16-bit, we really don't have that as an option. So if anybody out there wants to sponsor us, let us know. Send me an email. Carpo or EU, jungle mid, how has that transition been for you?
Well, it's been fine. I'd appreciate if we would be able to lock down a roster soon, so I can like actually be set to one role and start practicing it more. Because while I do main those two roles, it's very hard to like play jungle for a week and then like okay, now I have to play mid and vice versa.
Hmm.
But overall, it's fine since I played both quite enough, and so I feel pretty comfortable in both of them. So yeah.
I'm curious because something that they always talk about on other podcasts is like power rankings of teams. Where do you think 16-bit places in team, in terms of power ranking between the top team or the what rank is 16-bit? Do you guys think?
So
Well,
so right now we are sixth.
Sixth place.
We are slotted sixth for majors too. I I
that's
think I think Chunk Turtle's new team, which is what are they called now?
um Saints.
Yeah, I think Saints are really strong, and I think they got unlucky getting matched with C9
Hmm.
for
Yeah.
last qualifiers. But I think they're definitely going to be up there as a top tier team and be able because they took a game from C9. They definitely look really strong. We played against them. We lost to them, but we just got lucky that we didn't have to face them in finals for qualifiers.
Yeah, I'd place us at around 8 to 10, honestly, but it's hard to judge because we don't have a consistent roster and stuff. So once we manage to get those liking players and actually get some games together and build some kind of synergy, we might like jump a lot, like jump up. But at this stage, with our like constant tryouts and thing, I would place us at 8 to 10.
Okay, and
Like
that's
while
fair.
we got the sixth slot for the major, but overall, I think we're
Yeah,
hitting it. Yeah.
That's fair. That's good to have a realistic sense of your skill level because a lot of people tend to have inflated egos. Maybe is the word I want to use, or I'm going to use. But they tend to think that they might be a little bit better than they are, or some people think that they're worse than they really are. But that's good to know that we have a realistic, mindset when it comes to that. Moving on from there, we have the Wild Rift Patch Notes 3.0b. We have a couple of new skins. We see Obsidian Malphite and Zombie Slayer Pantheon. We have some accessories. Our baubles are in bloom. Icons Wild Rift Season 5. New events coming up. We got Join the Fluffed for Ionia. Join the Poros on another Flufftastic adventure, this time in Ionia. So just go do your events, I guess. Champion changes. This is one that Ryder and I were talking about that you're gonna love, Carpo or EU. Fizz. Fizz is
Yeah,
getting a nerf.
yeah. I've been talking about it kind of a lot recently. I think Fizz is actually he was very undervalued in the meta because like it's obviously heavy assassin bruiser mid meta right now, and Fizz has amazing matchups and almost all assassins and bruisers that are meta in mid lane, and he scales well. He's an amazing side laner. Like everything he does is just very good in this meta, and also like the fact that he's an AP option because there are
the
only two
assassin.
other yeah AP assassins in meta right now. I think that's also great. So actually, like them nerfing Fizz is kind of sad, but at the same time, it kind of I think it low key proves my point that he's like undervalued and he's very good right now. I think those nerfs, honestly, they're not terrible, and he's still just as good.
Yeah,
His early game
it's
is
not
yeah, he's a bit less of oppressive in the laning phase, but overall, like he's still just as good.
Ryder, how do you feel about it?
I'm pretty much on the same page with Carpo. I don't think it will bump him out of the meta. I think he's still pretty safe where he is right now.
For
It's
me,
it's not gonna be too much of a change.
I every time Fizz gets nerfed, I'm so happy because I hate playing against a Fizz. Um, and he was always a primary ban of mine when playing solo queue because he fit jungle and mid. This way you could target two potentially at the same time, so it was just a higher value ban for me. But I hate playing against Fizz. I guess I love playing him, but like you said, it doesn't really feel that bad of a nerf coming down just 10 points at level 1 and 10 points at level 5 on Playful Trickster, which you probably aren't really going to use Playful Trickster to damage the enemy anyway. And Chum the Water's just losing 50 points of damage at all ranks. So moving on from there, we have Jax. And Jax looks like he's getting an attack speed nerf. How do you guys feel about Jax right now currently, and do you think this nerf is going to affect his late game strength overall?
I think Jax is super strong in solo queue and pro play right now, so I welcome the nerf. I think, as we'll see with the giant Yuumi buffs, it's going to bring a lot of the hyper carry junglers with Yuumi just sitting on them all game, like towards the mid game. So Jax definitely is going to need it. I wish they would have done something to Olaf as well, because Olaf Yuumi is also super, super strong. Hopefully they do soon. But yeah, I like Jax nerfs. I think he needs it. He's very strong right now.
With that,
Yeah, I think.
sorry.
Go on. Sorry.
With that point that you just said, where we're going to see Yuumi sitting on hyper scaling junglers, does that bring Master Yi into the fold?
I doubt it.
I think with the meta right now, with like bruisers and like engaged supports and like so much CC right now, I don't think so.
Okay.
And they're just better options that scale faster or easier and have more mobility. And about Jax, I think he's one of the strongest junglers for a while, and he's very good into like current meta too. And I think those nerfs are actually very, very like soft, because also there's a soft cap on attack speed, and Jax builds like a lot of attack speed. So I honestly don't think those like percentage, like the 2% nerf at level like max level of the passive is even like an actual 2%. I think it's even less due to the soft cap on the attack speed. So I think it will barely affect him at all.
Still going to be the strong powerhouse that scales into late game and just chunks your HP down with a couple hits. That is good to know. So coming up with Lulu, we have a nerf on Whimsy coming down a second at all ranks, or being increased at a second at all ranks, but her shield value is coming up 5 on each. What is it doing? 70 to 75, 115 to 110, 160 to 145. So it's a buff on her level 1, but it's a nerf on the rest of them. So she's getting nerfed pretty well around. We see a lot of Lulu in pro play with your hyper carries like Vayne. How do you feel about this nerf on Lulu?
I like the late game nerf on her shield, because her like initial laning phase is not like crazy strong. It could be annoying in some matchups, but like it's definitely like manageable for like a lot of matchups. But those matchups do feel like no matter what, if you win lane, if the enemy can survive till like their dragon and they're not super far behind, Lulu just outscales you as a support, so you just lose anyway.
Yeah, I think Lulu is in a pretty good place in meta right now. While like engaged supports are very, very like heavy in the meta right now, but I think Lulu and Yuumi are great too, because like the meta is very focused on those bruisers and hyper carry junglers, and both Lulu and Yuumi are obviously amazing for buffing the attack speed and giving the shields and heal and everything. And I think nerfing Lulu is actually great, because it would like prevent those Jaxes and Olafs from being as oppressive as they could be. So,
yeah.
Something I'm curious for you, Carpo, is we have seen meta changes in League PC where the mid laner, for like doing B, for example, or Bjergsen, where they tend to play a little bit more of a supportive style where they facilitate the rest of their team. Would you ever see yourself playing Lulu mid?
I have tried it, and that's fine, but I think right now it's not really in the meta for it, because due to APC side, as you know, APC side lane is meta, or like Varus or someone who can clear the waves fast, and then the swap happens, so the mid laner goes to side lane, and then having Lulu on side laning is like not that great, because she's she's not very vulnerable because she has her ulti and she can take exhaust or something, but like she's still not the safest pick, and she'll have like zero oppression on the lane. So I think like it's a very unique like you could you could do that in certain setups if you have a strat prepared, but overall I think it's not very viable in the meta to go Lulu mid because you kind of
And
want an assassin or bruiser mid with skill potential.
and with how much limited AP champions there are in the game still right now for like Evelyn as well, like the only AP jungler, and then like Kennen and then like sometimes Akali are the only AP top laners. It's like there's so much like limited AP, and if you're picking Lulu mid like as kind of if that's your AP option, you're severely limiting your like AP damage. Because it's not like
Yeah.
Lulu's going to be frontlining, pumping out AP damage. She's going to be just giving massive shields because she has a lot of AP if she's going mid. But like, yeah, you're not going to be actually getting the damage of AP out there.
So with a lack of AP characters in the game, which ones would you like to see added next? Maybe Rise? Nidalee?
I didn't play PC much, so I'm just gonna say a quick comment before Ryder goes
Sure.
deep about it. I think overall we need more AP junglers because right now it's only Evelyn or Graves. And Evelyn is very situational and not very popular, and I mean not Graves, Gragas, my bad. And like we haven't like getting Ryze or someone is not really a solution because it's heavy assassin, bruiser, med, and mid. And I don't know much about Ryze, but I doubt he would be like very comfortable in this meta. So I think the solution is having more AP options top lane or jungle.
Gotcha. What about you, Ryder?
I don't think Rise would be bad. I think Rise would be a good answer to top lane or putting AP top. But I would like to, I want to see Elise. Like Elise has always been fairly strong in pro play, and with Jace coming out, right, knows that they can implement the ability swapping of like the is it their like I don't know what's called like the form changing.
Yeah, her arachnid form.
Yeah, so like they know that they could probably do it. So I think it would be cool to implement that. I would like Elise. Nidalee is always like decent in pro play for the most part. She would be a good option. What's in there? I like the old like season 7, 8 AP junglers. Like I don't want like Lilia in there. I don't think she would be. I mean, I know she would be broken. That's why
Cast it
it
in
would be
jungle.
fun.
We get the
I think
your assassins too.
Yeah, Caston's going to be the whole initial kill thing again. Where the game is just too short. So he's either going to scale like way too fast and then just be stupid strong way too early and take over the game, or you have to nerf his scaling and then he's just going to be useless until 20 minutes and then you never get there.
I did forget that people did play Kayle jungle in Wild Rift when she first came out. That is, I forgot all about that.
Yeah, it's for that reason, because her scaling in lane is so bad. They play it jungle as a safer option to get to that level 5. Because like Kayle top, a lot of top laners like with the meta right now, you can just hard abuse her before level 5, and by the time she gets her range form, you're already up like 600, 700, 800 gold. It's like her lane's already over by the time she like even starts to scale.
Gotcha. Okay. Moving on to our next champion, we have Yuumi and Ryder. This is something that you were talking about, these stupid Yuumi buffs. How do you feel about them?
I think they overtuned her so much. I think so. I don't think her Q slows on Wild Rift, does it? Her first ability?
I'm not sure. I have not got to play her yet.
I have to look. The few times I've played her, it doesn't feel like it does. I feel like I wish they would have added that and then given her the mana regen. I like the mana regen because there is no mana regen in Wild Rift that you can actually buy like on PC. And because all her abilities, or at least I think her first and her third ability, scale with percentage of your max mana. So with all the flat mana items you can buy, all you're doing is just making her abilities cost more mana. So I like the mana regen buffs. I think she needs it. I think her Q could get a little bit more damage. I don't mind that. And if it's slowed, I don't think she needs the AP ratios. I don't think she needs extra damage on her ulti.
Just give her more. Just increase her heal too. Give her more
Yeah,
HP.
I'm glad they didn't do anything to the heal.
Yeah, I think Yumi is already like before the buff. She was already at a decent spot. She wasn't really discovered yet, in
Yeah.
some regions at least. But I think like with the current meta, she was actually like in a very good spot. And with this buffs they made her kind of banner pick. I
Yeah.
think eventually every region will come to that point where like you just banner pick her.
Yeah, absolutely. Put her on like Ryder was talking about earlier. Put her on a Jax or an Olaf, something that can just be like a juggernaut into the enemy team.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah, she
really.
gives too much value in this meta. Yeah.
Okay, so gameplay changes. We have some gameplay changes to our items. The Maw of Malmortius. The cost is going down to 400 gold. Total cost is going to be down to 2,800. We have rune changes. Have you guys paid attention to the rune changes at all?
Yeah.
What one more comment I wish they would have made about Yumi is lengthened her was it her passive recharge time? I think her passive comes up way too often. So it's like it's almost impossible to like really punish her in lane without just like burning through all your mana. Because like every like 5 seconds she just jumps out, autos you for 150 HP shield, and then just jumps back in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so oppressive and annoying to deal with. Like if the enemy bot lane just plays safe, like even like somewhat safe, it just doesn't feel like you can do anything in lane, and you just like have to roam or do something else. Like it never feels like you can just win lane 2v2.
When she gets the shield, when she jumps back onto the teammate, it applies to the teammate as well, right?
Correct.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. So yeah,
And also there have been like some like Yumi top laners like popping up because of that passive shield being up so much.
mm-hmm.
Like her trading is so strong, and then her heal giving her attack speed. Like she out trades like a ton of top laners right now.
I did not know
And
her
it's
heal gave attack speed. I knew it gave movement speed. I didn't realize it gave attack speed as well.
like it's like 30% attack speed or 40% or something like that.
Okay, so yeah, Yumi top new meta. Maybe Dawn will pick it up. That was a joke. We're not going to do that. Rune changes. Keystone Electrocute. The base damage is going up from 30 to 35 at, I guess, level 1. Cooldown is actually coming down, so that's a pretty good buff for the Keystone of Electrocute. What do you guys think about the rune changes that have came that you've paid attention to?
I think overall, I really like the rune changes they made this season. I mean, this patch, because I don't think they were major, and they didn't really like destroy any runes from meta, and at the same time they didn't like overbuff any runes. But I think this like before the meta, like the rune meta was very kind of like one-sided. You pick this if you're laning, you pick this if you're jungling, and that's like just the best way to go. But by doing those like changes, they allowed you to be versatile, so you can actually consider, oh, do I go Conqueror here or Electrocute? Do I go Honey Fruit here or do I go Hunter Genius, and so on and so forth. I think that is great. It allows more flexibility and like adjusting to different playstyles and stuff like that.
So a bunch of I think actually almost all assassins except maybe like Fizz run Conquer right now. Do you think it's going to make any difference to Zed or Akali or any of those
I think
taking Electrocute again?
I think it will be very situational and player dependent, because overall, like in a team fight, you would still benefit more from Conqueror and Akali or Diana.
Right.
But like on laning phase or like trying to burst someone down as fast as possible and just one shot them, Electrocute is definitely better. So I think that will allow you to actually choose it. Like, do you want to be this executioner, or do you want to deal a massive amount of damage over time and like
Right.
adjust like so it will allow more flexibility and choosing also like, do you want to be oppressive in lane and pick electrocute, or you want to just scale and like be better in team fights and so on. So yeah, I think the change is great. Honestly, like it frees up a lot of options.
So Triumph's bonus damage is going up on enemies below 35% health from 3 to 5. Inspiration Hunter Genius starting ability haste is going up from 2.5 to 3. And the max stacks are going up from 15 to 18. Phase Rush is going to be interesting. The cooldown on Phase Rush from 15 to 12. I wonder if that's going to be more popular now on champions like Twisted Fate or Graves.
So the Triumph buffs, I don't think a lot of champions take Triumph right now. I think the other runes in the category are just playing stronger. I'll say this. I think the Triumph buffs are great for ARAM, but as far as like taking it as an actual rune in ranked games, I don't think it'll make a difference.
I think Triumph is a decent niche spot. Like Triumph is decent on like Akali, on Kata, Aurelia, and some junglers like Olaf or someone. I think the change that it needs to become fully like meta, not like oppressive meta, but like be a more optional pick for more champions. They need to rework how it works, because right now it takes a while to get that heal, because it has to travel from the body of the enemy to you, which takes like sometimes can take like up to 3 or 4 seconds.
So you think
if you're really far,
decrease the time that it travels?
Yeah, I think if that heal would be instant or something, that would make a big change.
Yeah, because in that second, when you're in that last, your chances are you're playing like the Aurelia that's fighting like a Garen or a Darius or something, where that's really going to make that much of a difference. I think, right? Yeah, we're talking about the same thing, hopefully.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it was instant heal, it would definitely make that a lot.
It'd be a lot stronger,
a lot safer too. You might.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you skipped over the Malmortius item changes.
Oh, do you want me to go back to it?
I mean, I don't have a ton to say about it. I think it's not gonna. It won't make a difference. I think it is too niche, and I think changing the total cost isn't going to make it worth. I think they need to maybe decrease the first item price, like that gives you the initial like protective shield. I don't remember what it's called.
The problem if you buff like nerf the like decrease the price of Hex Drinker, I think it will be just too good. At that point, everyone will just be building a Hex Drinker and not finishing them off on Malmortius. Because Hex Drinker is already at a decent like I believe it's costs 1.2k, and like for that price, it's already a very good component.
Let me ask.
But even then, still nobody buys it
because you never finish into more. And Witsend is just so much better if you're going like an AP auto attacker who can benefit from it.
That's what I was gonna ask. Since it's such a niche item, like I don't think I've ever built it. Ever in
maybe if they buff like the combined damage or something. I don't think the combined cost matters.
And also I'm not sorry to interrupt, but I'm not sure on this. But I think a Malmortius passive doesn't scale with level. I might be wrong with that, but I believe that's the case. I think that's also a thing that could change. That would make it way better.
Who would you pick this item into? Would you something like an Annie maybe?
Annie, Akali's decent. Evelyn's decent.
Yeah, if you're playing in a champion,
any single burst mages,
or just enemies having a lot of AP, and you're playing like a lethality champion, so you can't build with sand, or you can't go for like a full defensive item, because like any champion that can build both small and Winsand would always go for Winsand. So the only option is like Zads and Lee Sins and like all those people who don't really benefit from auto attack speed.
Gotcha. Yep. Okay, so like you said Zed.
It is an option for that. It's not that great. Once again, like enemies need to have a lot of AP picks in order to like for you to be reasonable to build it. And even then, you would probably build it like as force item or something, and so forth and so on. Like, yeah.
So you heard it straight from a professional mid laner. Maw of Malmortius is a trash item.
I think it could be built in some scenarios, but overall its gold value is pretty low.
Yeah.
Like efficiency.
Efficiency value. Gotcha. What else is there? The Inspiration Sweet Tooth is getting a bonus healing from, or it's getting its bonus healing reduced, which that's gonna suck. And its gold is being reduced, so I feel like they kind of crippled the Sweet Tooth.
No, I think this is great. I think this
I
is
d-
the best rune
yeah.
change they ever made this in this game because Sweet Tooth was such a dominant rune. You basically always took it in lane.
Yeah.
Like if you're not a jungler, you always take it. Except sometimes you take the mana flow, but that's super rare, and you're like really like sad about it that you have to do it. But at
Yeah,
this
the
point, like,
Sweet Tooth is
go
so
on, sir.
strong. I was just
Yeah,
saying,
like
Sweet Tooth is.
yeah, and now, like they didn't nerf it hard enough, so it becomes non-meta. It's still very good and very valuable, but it is
Yeah.
at that sweet point where actually, in some scenarios, you could pick some other runes, like Counter Genius or like Mana Flow or something else, and benefit from it.
How do you feel, Ryder?
I'm in the same boat. I'm curious what the differences would have been if they had buffed the healing and gotten rid of the gold, like completely.
Yeah, that's part of why I took it, because you just hit it all over the map and then just get bonus gold. Because when you're in,
Yeah, it's just like it's a free 2 minions every time
exactly,
you walk past them.
exactly,
Yeah,
especially if you can get your
I,
enemies.
I think if they take out the gold and they don't overbuff the healing, so it's like 25 to 30 or something, not like
Yeah,
25
yeah,
to 50. I think that it would kill the rune, honestly, because you have like that extra 5% or 10% healing wouldn't really change anything, and you can just like play a bit safer or less aggressive. But
yeah,
like like you'll be able to take another rune that will actually like buff your stats, especially since like other runes like Hunter Genius was buffed and so on, so allowing more options for that slot too.
Gotcha. Okay. Um, moving on. Boy, I started looking at this thing and I didn't notice it recording desktop audio, so I really hope it's recording desktop audio. If not, might have to scrap the episode. What do we have next? Bone plating. Compared to the cooldowns coming down from 45 to 35 seconds. Are there any of these? Because it's such a long list of things. Are there any that stood out to you from this patch?
I think bone plating's fine. Was it conditioning? I I I think conditioning definitely needed the nerf.
It's a buff.
Oh, sorry, I read it wrong. Sorry, I was talking about Hunter Titan. Definitely needs the nerf. Conditioning's fine. It I don't know, didn't feel that great, but because you had to wait until like after first objective if you even have a rune, because until 5 minutes you just don't have a rune there. So having it set to 3 minutes, so you have it before first objective, I think is a really good change.
That's a really good point.
And I think a lot of people will take it more often now.
Yeah, I think like go on,
ahead.
sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Okay. What I was gonna say, I think like what they did once again is they buffed all those runes that are like I kind of wanted, but it's not that good enough, and nerfed those runes that are like okay, this is just go to. So they like once again they didn't like destroy any runes or like over buff any runes. Like they just like they really did a good job balancing here at a point where like right now you can actually choose like do I want a conditioning, do I want a hunter titan, do you want like bone plating or second wind and so on. So you can actually choose and like adjust to your playstyle or your champ. I think those changes are great.
Yeah, they're definitely making the changes so it's more tailored to like composition is going to decide your runes rather than just this rune is OP. It doesn't matter what I'm playing against. I'm going to take it.
Gotcha. Okay. Last up, we have second win regeneration time after taking champion is down 10 to 5 seconds. So that's pretty good. Pretty good little buff for it. Our free to play rotation champion. Wow, I cannot talk. Camille, Jax, Zunu, and Willip, Ramus, Senna, Thresh, Tristana, Vigar, Zaya, and Zed. Upcoming, we have Evelyn Fiora, Gragas, Katarina, Morgana, Nami, Oriana, Tryndamere, Varus, and Vayne. All right, that is out of the way. The boring stuff is out of the way. So now we can go take some questions from Reddit. How do you guys feel about answering some questions for people?
Sure. I saw this on Reddit. This post is so funny.
Does Bramble Vest stack? Rammus question. I noticed the recommended kit for Rammus. There is someone that buys 5 Bramble Vests. Does the Thorns trait stack, or is this person selling everything prior to victory to skew the data? I tried searching this up, and some users mentioned that unique traits are only applied once instead of the intended 5 times. I know for sure you can only buy 1 Thor mail, so this is different.
So unique passives don't stack. If the unique passives have the same name, they do not stack, which is why you can't stack Sterax and Phantom Dancer. They do different things, but their passives both have the same name, so you can't buy them together and have them stack. So in short, Thornmails do not stack. The damage doesn't stack. The only extra thing you're getting out of it is the extra armor.
This person says, or I'm sorry, you please finish. Please finish.
Yeah. So why that is happening is when you can create your own like build paths and stuff. When you get up into the top 200 for a specific champion, whatever your default build is that you made shows up when people look at your account on the leaderboards. So people sometimes do troll builds like that to either hide their build for whatever reason, like if they're trying something like new meta or whatever, or just to troll lower players. Because the rank 1 brand, the build that is posted on the leaderboards is full AD attack speed with a Runon's Hurricane first item, which is obviously super troll. But like in ARAM games sometimes, like I'll see people first timing brand, and a lot of players do this. They'll in like ARAM and like lower elo games, when they don't know how to play a champion, they don't know what to build, so they'll just go to like, hey, what are the top 3 players building? And I'll just build that. It's like they'll just copy the rank 1 brand build, and then they're building like items that aren't even built for it.
That's exactly what I do. I would be playing AD attack speed, AD carry brand. That's exactly what I would do. Moving on. Moving on from there. This is a pretty good question. This comes from Love Petricor. Hopefully I got that right. High MMR support shouldn't be used to compensate for low MMR teams. I play solo support a lot, and my mains are all enchanters. Very often I get placed with 4 Emerald 4s against a small similar team, but their diamond player is a carry. I know supports can carry, and I can try to make calls with pings, but once a lane is hard lost because of the E4 D4 skill difference, there's not much I can do. Also, E4s are not famous for their macro or ability to listen to calls. Result, I feel so miserable watching the weird plays and weak for not being able to carry on myself. Summary, don't compensate low MMR teams with high MMR enchanter supports. So basically what I'm getting from this is they don't stick a diamond support into a gold game because Riot has shitty MMRs. What do you feel about that?
So I was just complaining about this today, but on one of my Smurf accounts is Master right now, and the past I think 6 or 7 games that I've played have been me being Master, and then everyone else in the game, on my team at least, is somewhere in Diamond. And then every single game, the enemy team has been the same, where it's been 4 Diamonds, but their jungler is a Grandmaster player. It's been like that, I think, 6 or 7 games in a row. Obviously, jungle is the hardest carrying role and the strongest role in the game right now. So it does feel kind of like demoralizing when you know like the high elo player in the enemy team is playing the strongest role in the game, and then you have somebody a lot lower skill gap already that's just not going to be able to keep up with the other jungler.
I think. Oh, sorry. Go on.
No, go ahead. I didn't know what I was going to say.
Oh, okay. I think overall it's not a big problem. Yeah, some roles are more impactful than others, but support is like one of the most impactful roles. Obviously, it's behind jungling, but like it's still like those
Yeah.
the number 2 or number 3 role. And yeah, sometimes it feels unfair, but like you can't really fix it. And otherwise, like if you like prevent the junglers from being the high MR, then like they won't be able to match, because then you would have like you need a full jam lobby for a jungler to match or whatever else. I think the main problem here is that like this player is playing challenger supports when it's engaged support meta, and overall enchanter supports are very like they're
Team
way less.
reliant.
Yeah, they're like reliant on your ADC and your team, and also they can impact the outcome of the game by themselves way less. So I think it's kind of his fault for getting like being in that position. Like you can play whatever you want and enjoy it, and that's up to the player. But if you want the best uh, chances of winning, you should be playing those playmaking supports that can actually outcome victory. So if you want to hard carry your games, play Rakan or Trash or whoever else, instead of playing like Nami and hoping that your ADC won't run it down.
Yeah, I say this to a lot of like low elo players when they ask me for like tips and stuff for climbing as a support player, because I've climbed a grandmaster multiple times, support only in solo queue, and there'll be people like, hey, I'm hard stuck plat 3 or whatever. I play Janna and Soraka mostly, but I can't climb because my teammates are so bad. Like, what do I do? And most of the time, I'll just tell them like, well, first you probably just need to stop playing those champions, because if what you're saying is true and like, oh, my teammates are so bad, why are you playing champions that are going to make bad teammates a little bit better?
Absolutely.
You need to be playing champions that like, hey, you guys are gonna follow me. Like if I think I'm the better player, I'm gonna make the plays. You're not gonna be doing that on Soraka, Janna, those types of champions.
I always tell people in solo queue, never trust your teammates. So you have to be the one to carry your team, no matter what role you're playing.
Yeah.
So moving on, let's go to this next question, and it is: anyone else have this is from Wiz Whoosh? Anyone else have super inconsistent game performances with the same champion? Does anyone else have a few games in a row where you get kills upon kills, MVP, etc.? The next game you play the exact same champion with 1, 10, and 6, and the whole team swearing at you. Is this normal, or are most people just consistently their level?
I think to answer that question, I think there are 2 points I would like to make. First of all, it's how matchmaking works. Like, let's say you play a game, you're 10-1, you stomp the enemy team, you get a decent increase in your MMR. So it's likely that the next game you play will be higher MMR on average than the previous game. So enemies will be a bit better on average. So it will be harder to win. So you'll perform worse overall. I think that's a factor. But I think the bigger factor is like when you see that kind of results. I think is that that player is a very coin flip player. So rather than like really thinking about macro and what he's doing, he's just kind of going for all those fights and dives and ganks without like thinking it out. And then like if he manages to win, then he manages to keep coin flipping and keep snowballing, and he card carries. If he loses, then he's just like, okay, I don't really have any macro knowledge. I just coin flip and fight. I already like we fought at this Drake. Our team is 0-5. So now I'll fight at Herald. Now our team is 0-9 or something, and just keeps on going and going, and now like, and he just keeps falling behind.
So my personal experience for like this specific question, I would say I experience it every once in a while with like, it's kind of like,
Well, that's dead air. While we're figuring out what's going on with Ryder,
does might match up like better or worse.
what we totally missed everything you just said.
Okay.
Like cut out.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
So like dodge mechanics with skill shots, I definitely experienced this. like kind of thing. Like playing Thresh, for example, like I'll have some games where like I'm hitting every single hook, and then the next game like I just can't hit a hook for my life, and that comes more with like, again, like everyone kind of like has a different tendency in like how they dodge. Like I can play against like really good like challenger GM AD carries or supports, and like because like I play at that level, like I know a lot of high low players are going to try to dodge a specific way, so I will predict that dodge. And then like other games, I'll have players that just never dodge anything and they just walk in straight lines. And because I'm trying to like predict those dodges or whatever, I just miss everything.
No, I get it. I am that way too. Well, see, like I am consistent. Like one of my characters' names is Mr. Consistent. It's just always consistently bad. So it's always consistently bad. But no, I think everybody has those games. Like you said, it's going to be a different matchup every time. You could you could be playing up against somebody that's clearly mismatched in skill level, and that you will just absolutely dominate on. It's kind of like the idea of smurfing as well. If you are super confident on your champion and you take that into Smurf queue where you're playing against someone else, that's a lower elo, you're going to dominate that match because you have that skill difference, you have that knowledge difference, and you know, a lot of times it's not necessarily a mechanical outplay, it's just the knowledge of when can I go in on this champion.
That's kind of the opposite of what I mean, because like I'll because like I know how players should be dodging, just like based on like stats and like being able to like the best possible outcome for like how you can dodge something like is you're gonna do this or you're gonna move this way.
Mm-hmm.
It's like in higher elo, like I can hit those all day, but then like I'll go down into like a gold or plat game and like I can't hit a single thresh hook to save my life because players just like don't have the reaction time to dodge abilities. So I just can't hit anything because they're just like walking straight lines or like stuff like that.
Yeah, I totally walk straight lines because I have no reaction time.
Yeah, it's the most tilting thing because it's just like you expect the players are going to try to dodge your skill shot, but they just don't. So you miss it. It's so annoying.
Moving on from that, this comes from Kadejico. Hopefully I said that right. Penalties for leaving the game should be increased by a lot. Like not being able to queue for the next 12 hours or something, maybe 24 for every game for every next time leaving the game recently. Currently someone leaves the game every single game. I haven't finished a single losing game without someone on my team leaving the game. Not a single one in the last 50 games. Do you think the AFK penalty should be increased? Carpo?
Yes.
I think
I'll just say yes, but Carpo, go ahead. I'll say mine.
Yeah, I think AFK penalties, and I think overall a lot of penalties besides the chat ban. That one is pretty great. It works fine. But like AFK penalties or griefing penalties, I think all of them should be increased, honestly. And also, like what a lot of players have been asking for a while and still hasn't been implemented is LPE protection. So like if you're going into a game and your teammate AFKs pretty early on, or just trolls or like whatever else, and you will get your LP protection, and then that teammate would lose the LP and also get some kind of punishment, and then enemy team will get the LP or not, depending on like if it was at the beginning of the game or like the game went on for 20 minutes or something and so on. But yeah, I
So
think those systems need to be.
I can defend the reasoning behind that and why I don't see that coming, because that will make boosting a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
Because say if you're like duo boosting with four players, like two on each team, and you're trying to like snipe each other, or say like one person on each team, like you're trying to snipe each other to get on opposite teams, right? And then if you're on opposite teams, one person is just gonna like run it down. But if the person that you're like boosting with gets on your same team, they can just AFK, and then you just don't lose the LP for it.
Absolutely. Sacrifice one of the accounts or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think the penalty should be increased by a lot as well. 5 minutes, 10 minutes isn't really enough. I'll just play a
Yeah, I
different
agree.
account, different account. Something that the Koreans do is, or they have to do with their video games, they lock their social security numbers into an account to be able to create an account for games. So it's not like they can just go and make a whole bunch of new accounts without having some actual, I guess, real life repercussions. So maybe if people took the game a little bit more seriously, other than I can just go create 10 accounts and then I can leave on this one, get a slap on the wrist, and then go play a different one while that one's on cooldown. Okay. Stay positive, guys. Flaming your teammates won't make them play better. Um, this comes from Exhausted 05. He says, I got a chat ban for 2 weeks and I feel stupid during that ban period. Those that I flamed could have been a newbie trying to get a game out, or maybe he's having a bad day and just trying to have some fun. After that ban ended, I stay positive and only say nice things to my teammates. Just now I had a game in the draft pick. It looks like a losing game because my Kale was facing a set, and my teammate said, GG, top, gonna lose, FF. I said, we'll win late game. Turns out that set was a noob, and our Kale carried it. Even in a losing game, try to stay nine, blah, 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 blah. So, with this, for me, this is like your mentality when it comes into games. If you already have that loser's mentality of I'm gonna lose or whatever, it's definitely gonna drag out that willingness to flame inside of somebody. Do you
Yep.
guys ever flame your teammates?
Randoms, yeah.
Really?
Sometimes it happens. But overall, I agree with what this person is saying. Like, if your goal is to win the game or get better at the game, flaming your teammates, what will like further you from your goal? Because if your teammate is feeding and then you tell him he's trash, he'll just get tilted and feed even more.
Yeah.
Rather, you
So
can actually just stay silent or say something useful and nice that might able to like help him or at least boost his morale. So yeah, I think overall this person is having a great idea.
So I think for the most part, people flame not to hurt others people's feelings. Like I don't think when people flame, they like you don't care about like making sure the other player knows they're bad. Like if they're like 0-10, like they know they're bad. I think a lot of people just do it to relieve stress or their own anger, and it makes them feel better.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of like spread the blame.
For me, like,
But
I have the story that I tell people. It's kind of an inside joke. Me and Bonsai were playing duo queue, or it was trio queue. I think it was Barge was there, and I missed one Malphite ult, and now Bonsai refuses to play with me after flaming me. It was so bad. I cried for days. I was so hurt. So don't flame your teammates, guys.
so the whole like FF and Champ Select, I can speak on that. That is super tilting. I hate that, and it definitely like demoralizes like the entire team for like starting from minute one. And I play a lot of off meta stuff. I'm a huge fan of Ash support right now, and I
Mm.
basically have to try to force my team to give me last pick and then just insta lock it like without hovering it, or my team will just start trolling in chat and then pick random champions and troll like before like realizing like, hey, this guy's like top 200 Ash. Oh, he's a master player. Blah blah blah. Like he actually plays this, but like they're not going to take the time to think of that until like we get in game and see it. And
Mm-hmm.
if they're already in like that tilted mindset, like, oh, I'm just going to pick something troll because this guy's trolling. It's like, hey, I'm not actually trolling, and then you guys just screwed yourself over because of it, because of your attitude.
I completely agree. And that's something that Bear actually said to me. I realized I was having a loser mentality. It's like, oh, this game's over already. And he pointed out, it's like, hey man, you're just in the wrong mindset. It doesn't matter what the border around somebody's name or the color of the border around somebody's name is. You gotta go in to the game with the mindset of I can win this, or we can win this, or else you already lost. Moving on from that, we've got Cyberpunk. If you want support to play a tank, learn how to freeze the wave. Title, it's really tiring to get spammed. We need a tank and champ select as a support player, and then when I lock Alistar or Leona or something, the ADC proceeds to play like a lobotomized monkey. You shouldn't be shoving the wave when you have an engaged tank support. Stop pushing them under tower. I literally cannot engage if they are the safest position known to mankind. It's super easy to freeze the wave at a basic level. You don't have to be a pro. Just don't maul down the minions at full HP like they're Scooby-Doo snacks. And you need to solve the latest crime. Please, ADCs. I see ADCs in Diamond who don't know how to do this, and it is frankly ridiculous that anyone can consider Diamond a high rank if players don't know the fundamental concepts. So, you being an AD carry
and a support player, my response to that from a support side is don't be a baby and adapt. If you can't do anything in lane, and this is kind of how the meta is right now, roam. If your AD carry is just shoving it under tower, ditch him. Roam mid. Go roam with the jungler and do something on the other side of the map. You're not going to do anything. As an engaged support, exactly, you're not going to do anything in your lane if they're just getting shoved under tower all game. So do something on the other side of the map to like actually get something productive done.
Carpo, what
would be my response to that.
That's exactly what I would do. I play like Helicopter when I play Alistar. I just roam. I don't have an AD carry anymore. Carpo, what do you think would be the best way for a tank support to play? Do you agree with Ryder?
Well, I'm support is my least comfortable role, but overall, yeah, like as you can see from competitive, the meta is switching to all those roam subs and heavy engage subs because I have the ability to make plays outside of the lane, and it's way more beneficial to snowball your jungler or mid laner or top laner and put the enemy behind rather than just snowballing your ADC. So overall, yeah, having that, like, I get level 3, I try to see, like, you shouldn't be just like walking around the map brain dead, like waiting for a play, but you should like look out for opportunities and know where they can present themselves and try to create the situation, like try to create a way to seize that opportunity. So like, you can roam for a scuttle, ping that to your jungle, so he knows you're coming, so you can fight for that second scuttle or something, and you can put him ahead and put the enemy jungler behind, so on and so forth.
Like one thing I try to do as a support in most games is like every recall, you after you recall, like you start with the roam, or you start looking for a roam. Like rather than just running straight back to bot lane, like I'll walk through like my bot side jungle and try to be looking for like, can I get wards in enemy jungle? Like, can I gank mid laner right here? And, like you're still kind of pathing towards bot lanes. So you're like not losing like a ton of XP or gold, but you are a lot closer to making a play somewhere else on the map if it's available.
I agree. That I typically look for a roam whenever I play support as well, but I spend, like I said, I spend most of the time roaming anyway. Like, especially if the AD carry is playing something like Ezreal. We'll skip the skin list. We'll go into the gameplay section. So this is kind of where you guys get to actually have some fun instead of just sitting here talking, and get to watch some of the crazy stuff that happened on Reddit. And hopefully this is up. It's just level 1, this Olaf in the jungle gets this quadra kill and shuts down the enemy team. If you were playing against that with an Olaf that got a quadra kill off level 1, how would you feel? How would you react as the enemy team?
I mean, that's very sad. And knowing the state of the ranked matchmaking right now, it's most likely GG. Because your teammates will just perma-feed at that point.
Oh yeah. That, for me, that's going to give you enough confidence to engage into the enemy jungle, just knowing that you can slap around that Master Yi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, at that point, like, you take a side camp, you recall, you buy 2,000 gold worth of items, and you just start invading. The enemy jungler's never going to be able to answer, and you can most likely 2v1 at that point.
Yep. live in the enemy jungle. This next one's from Lil Papa Blaze 420. So cool name. Emoted me after team jumping me, so I took that personally. Just the power of Irelia.
Okay. I've got a great example of that. Let me see if I can find. This video, and it's a video with Dawn actually, and I think I've posted the clip in our chat.
Does Dawn play Irelia?
No, it was I randomly matched into a game against Dawn in ARAM. I'll look for it. We can keep talking.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So I just love when you get to see somebody who's a little bit more skilled on Irelia play the champion. Ultria was phenomenal on Irelia when they were playing with us.
Yeah, I remember that.
Carpo, when are you going to pick up Irelia?
I do play Irelia.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh,
I played Irelia jungle in 5Q yesterday.
Awesome. How'd it go?
It was fine.
Okay.
I got the MVP.
Yeah, that's
how do you feel Irelia is right now in meta? It's like I don't really see her anymore.
I think in mid she's kind of getting into the meta, which is great. First of all, people are finally starting to understand how to build her, like ignoring the Trinity and building BC on her and so on and so forth, which is great. And second of all, like she's pretty decent in the meta right now because once again of those assassin brooder mids, and she's like, good into them, and she's an amazing side laner because of her like all-in potential and push potential. So yeah, I think while she's not one of like top 3 picks mid or something, she's a decent feels decent in the meta, and if you have a very strong Irelia in your team, you can prioritize her for sure. So I think she's in a decent spot.
Gotcha. I personally like her. I just can't play her. I don't know what it is. I've put in like 50 to 60 games on her, and every time I just feel like I'm great in the laning phase, but as soon as we come out of laning phase, I cannot team fight to save my life. But that's because I suck at this game. So, how do you guys feel about the current state of Mundo?
I think. Oh, go on. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I'll respond to you.
Okay. I was gonna say I think his rework is great. While it kind of killed off Mundo jungle because his clear is too bad now and stuff. I think it made him way more viable in support and top lane.
Mm-hmm.
And while right now he doesn't seem as like one of those top priority picks, I think he's still great into some comps and a great option.
I see. How about you, Ryder? How do you feel about Mundo?
I think Mundo's, fine. I don't think he's really strong anywhere. Like, people play him support as like counter picks. With how strong bruisers are right now, with the amount of true damage top lane, I don't think he's that great top lane. Like as Carbo said, like his jungle is pretty weak. So I don't think he's that strong right now.
So you guys here, Ryder said he sucks.
I like his rework, but I think the champion is still weak.
So Ryder, watch this and then tell me how weak he is. We see him just running around the jungle right now. But you're going to see the power of full tank Mundo come to play. All that HP coming back, man. How can you say this champion's weak? Just look at me. He's half HP. Flashes over the wall. Just tanking all the turrets, man. All the turrets. Like, how is that champion weak, man?
You play it again. My connection's a little.
Oh,
buggy.
sorry. Yeah, I'll play it again. My bad. I'm sitting here shit talking you for no reason. Oh, my language. Oops. So yeah, you'll see Mundo just running around, tanking, doing Mundo things. I wish the quality was better. I don't know why the quality is so bad.
No, it's my internet connection. I don't know what it's.
Anyway, we'll scrap this segment until I can download these videos. We'll work on it going forward. I appreciate you guys coming on. We'll call it a wrap there. It was a long episode. It was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. I forgot how long patch notes typically go, and with 3 people giving input, it tends to go on a little while. I appreciate you guys coming on. Is there anything you want to plug? Social media? Ryder, do you want to plug your Fiverr?
Yeah, I do personal one-on-one coaching on Fiverr. You can just search up my name. It's RYHDERR. Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. It's all the same. It's all just Ryder.
Yep,
You can find me, follow me on there.
I'll put it down in the comments or the description. What about you, Carpo? Is there anything you want to plug, man?
No, unfortunately. Not yet, at least.
Not yet. Okay. Other than that, we appreciate everybody for listening. Hopefully you guys had an okay time. I know this one ran long.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me too.
Coming on. And I will see you guys on the Rift.